Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another Monday. As I promised last week, it's not going to be full-on Q&A. We're going to do a little bit of training, a little bit of Q&A, and mix it all up for the next few weeks. So last week, in fact, let's go back a little bit. There was I put a post out on Facebook about the Ultimate Freedive site that we found in our last trip to Greece, and I put a thing out on Facebook about the trip in April to go and dive it. So if you were interested, then just message me and I can send you some details. It's not officially out yet, so this is an exclusive to you guys who are watching on repeat, or you're still watching. So okay, so we are going to go through a couple of things that I promised last week. I mentioned that we're going to briefly go through the E.T.T. Now, the original E.T.T video I did for the lockdown is still on there, so you're welcome to kind of go back and watch that. But just a quick, because this was a question that a couple of people asked and have asked since last week about training for depth when you haven't got depth available. So as we're going into the winter, you really want to get into the habit of doing your bedtime stretches, which we covered on the video last week, which is the flexibility of the chest, which is what's going to be the thing that stops you able to equalize safely at depth, so that's it, flexibility. The E.T.T is the first step of the technique required to equalize. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. If somebody teaches or offers you, or you are intrigued by a technique known as mouthfill, still well clear of it. It's very, very dangerous. If you need mouthfill to get past a depth, then you are damaging your lungs. 100% hit rate on that. Until you get to something like 70, 80 meters, your mouthfill technique is extremely dangerous, and you damage your lungs every single time you do it. And we can go through the physics of that, or the physiology of that, but it's pretty straightforward. So how do you get past a certain depth? Well, flexibility and technique. They're the two things. Of course, during the dive, it's relaxation that allows your body to move and flex, which is depending on time in the water. So you have to build up confidence in your skills so that you can relax, and confidence in your safety systems so that you can relax and allow your body to succumb to the pressure. And so you're going down to a certain depth, and you haven't got enough air in your mouth to equalize the ears. So what you need to do is pull up some air. Now, you only want to pull up, so that the rhythm will be pull up, equalize, relax, pull up, equalize, relax, pull up or unpack. And if you can unpack, then your chest has flexed and you're good to go. You're safe to go. You're not going to damage the lungs because you've unpacked, and that means the chest has flexed inwards. So you're good for that equalization. Then you can relax, then you unpack again, and if you can unpack, your chest is moving, and you can you're safe to equal for that equalization. So how do you unpack? And that's using the E.T.T. So what we're trying to do is get air out of the lungs, and when we're diving, into the mouth so we can equalize with it. And in the dry, we're going to use the E.T.T, which looks like a balloon, but it's a latex, high quality latex balloon. It means you can use it time and time again. So we're trying to get air out of the lungs into the mouth to do whichever we want, either equalize or fill the E.T.T. And this unpacking technique cannot use a diaphragm. As soon as you use a diaphragm to try and squeeze air up past 9 meters, it's not gonna cut the mustard. So you have to use the throat muscles and the mouth and the tongue to suck air out of the lungs. Okay? Now, when we're diving, if we make a noise, this guarantees that we've moved air from the lungs to the mouth. So when you dive with us, we'll teach you unpacking, you have to make the noise. Why do you have to make the noise? Because it tells you that you have managed to unpack. If you can't equalize after that, then there's a problem with your equalization technique, probably tension, because if you've got to that stage, you can equalize anyway. You've learned skills to equalize, so it's probably tension that's coming in at that point, but maybe not. So 2 stages: unpack, you make the noise. So if you've made the noise, you know you've got the air. Then you can equalize. Okay. So let's how do you practice using E.T.T? Very simple. So breathe out everything you can. And obviously I can't talk when I've breathed out everything. Breathe out everything you can, and then fill the balloon fill the balloon. And the only way you can do that is to unpack, making the noise. So if you breathed out fully, your first unpack will be a proper unpack. If you haven't breathed out kind of 100%, then you can cheat the first unpack by pushing up the diaphragm. So when you can unpack 3 times on a full exhale, then you know exactly, Ted, exactly. Equalization training tool is what it stands for. And there's 2 L's in balloon. So what was I saying? So you unpack. If you can do 3 unpacks, then you're definitely unpacking. Okay, then you're definitely unpacking. If the first one could be a bit of a cheat, that's fine. The second and third ones are real ones. Okay, so let me show you. And if you hold your nose the first couple of times you do it, it kind of makes sure you're not sniffing air secretly. So. Ooh. 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 It's the truth. Now, another thing that I've learned over the years, in all the different sports I do, proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. There's a hole in my E.T.T. That's why it didn't work. I did have another one here. There's a hole in my E.T.T. And hang on. I think the cat's attacked my E.T.Ts. I think the cat has attacked my balloons. So I can't show you what that looks like. But hopefully you're fully aware of what a balloon looks like when it fills up. Okay, now be aware it won't be a full-size balloon. There's no way you can unpack enough air to fill a balloon to say this big. You'll have to put not just this amount of air, but because the pressure increases, there's going to be maybe 3 bar, so you'll have to put 3 times that. So say that's a litre, you're going to have to unpack 3 litres to fill a balloon to this sort of size. So you're expecting the balloon to go, maybe I can put my finger on this hole. Okay. So I'll try and put my finger on it, so. I can't put my finger on it. So you're going to get it to a kind of a small blown up size, but you're not going to fill it up massively. But that's it. So that's how to use an E.T.T. Unpack, equalize, or fill the balloon, unpack, equalize. Of course, when you're using E.T.T, every time the pressure increases, it's harder work for you to push the air into the balloon, which means you're using the cheeks, the tongue and the throat to squeeze the air into the balloon, and you're getting more efficient at blowing up the balloon and therefore more efficient at moving the air, which you're going to use to equalize later on. Yes?
Sessions number 22 and 29 for full balloon.
Okay, fantastic. So sessions 22 and 29 are the sessions which cover the E.T.T in full, glorious, unperforated glory. Okay, so that was the questions, and looking at the time, fantastic, we've got plenty of time now. So we're going to do a breath awareness exercise. So it's going to be similar to what we've done before. I'm going to take you on a journey slightly different to the other paths that you've done before, and I'm going to leave you at the end of the exercise just to have some quiet time. So I'm going to say kind of goodbye now, and see you next week. Oh, incidentally, those following the drone story, it didn't come back. It nearly did, but a couple of the motors were seized, and one of the circuit boards had an issue, and at that point it's just not worth fixing. So so there you go. The drone has flown to the great airport in the sky. So I'm going to say goodbye now. I'm going to take you through. It's going to be about 15-18 minutes long, so it'll take us up to 8 o'clock. And I'm going to just leave you there with time to relax afterwards. Remember, when you've got your eyes closed, don't just open your eyes. So when I leave you, take your time to rub your palms together so it warms. You feel the warmth in the palms of your hands. Cover your eyes, and then slowly open your eyes behind your hands, and slowly you bring your eyes back, hands away. So bring you back to the room, step by step. It's much more efficient. If you open your eyes, bam, all this information comes in, your brain will start thinking. And you can't stop it. It's not a matter of you being able to control it. You will just see, oh, there's a poster there, there's a flower there, there's a picture there, and your brain is picking up all this at once. But if you take your hand slowly, you can just see one thing and you can process it. One thing, you can process it. The next thing, you can process it. And so your brain still works in a very simple, in a very step-by-step process. Yes, Ted, that would be. If anybody's watching fancies going through and indexing them, then send it to me. That would be much appreciated, and then I can put it up as an index. I've tried a little bit, but a full index would be fantastic, and we could start taking down the ones that aren't as good. And then redoing the ones that need to be redone. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to do the breath awareness, and we are going to go into the unnamed holds, but not fully. We'll just be pausing to feel what it feels like, rather than kind of working on those holds. So if you want to close your eyes, sit. Push your bum back into the seat, depending on where you're sitting. Try and keep your spine straight. And you can say with your spine straight because you can feel the weight going of your shoulders straight down the spine. And I'm on a hard seat here, which is quite good. It means I can feel the sitting bones pushing into the chair. And you're going to start breathing consciously. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Don't change the breath, just be conscious of it. So as you're sitting here, on the crown of your head, to be the highest point in your body, tuck your chin in and drop the shoulders. Allow the breath to come from the abdomen, the belly. And if you are practiced, if you've got the skills, if you're a little bit more advanced, you can start invoking Ujjayi breath. For those of you who are still working on those subtler techniques, more advanced techniques, drop your jaw, kind of yawn a bit. You'll hear a crackling in the ears. This is eustachian tubes opening up, and we try and open them and keep them open. So in this first part of the breath, you can actually let the jaw open, still breathing through the nose, and try and hear the sound of the breath in the ears due to eustachian tubes being open. Again, that's covered in another exercise, another live stream. Try and stretch you can stretch the mouth and properly yawn to release the jaw muscles and soften the muscles around the eustachian tubes. Okay, and today we're going to think about the movement of the breath in the lower part of the body. So we're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, and we're not worried about how much breath there is, but try and kind of fill the belly full of air. Not worried about particularly how slow at the moment. Fill the belly and then allow the belly to pull back. Now if you're wearing elasticated trousers, or if you're wearing trousers you can imagine they're elasticated, but if you're wearing elasticated trousers, try and stretch the waistband of your trousers as you breathe in. And you can stretch them forwards and sideways, and then maybe even a little bit backwards. And as you breathe out, trying to make the trousers fall off. So you're trying to make your waist as thin as possible. And you pull in sideways and from the back. And you've probably never tried to pull or push your waist out sideways. So as you're breathing in, you're pushing the belly forwards, of course. But you can also push the belly sideways. It's a little bit more subtle. And backwards. And stretch that belly band, the waistband, sorry. Belly band is what we use to focus the mind slightly different parts of the body. And then pull the belly back inwards and the waist from the sides. So you're really using the entire of the belly. This is good training for the diaphragm and control of the diaphragm. Remember, the breath, it doesn't matter how fast it is, it's always controlled and smooth, so it's not on the in and the out. It's smooth in and smooth out. Remember, it's a silken thread. Now, what I'd like you to do is put your hand on your lower abdomen. So on your belt buckle, where your belt buckle would be. And if you're good at pranayama or have the skills or have done it before, then we want you to pull up on your perineum. But if you haven't, then that's no problem. But what I want you to do is, as you breathe out, I want you to push with your hand on that belt buckle and feel that tension there. So breathe out just a little bit more than you would before and feel that tension underneath your belt buckle. And then when you breathe in, keep that tension and breathe over the top of your trousers. And then relax. Breathe in, nice and soft with the belly. Breathe out, nice and soft with the belly. Keep your hand on the waistband, on the buckle of your belt, as it were. Fill in your belly and emptying your belly. And again, we're going to do the same thing again. So as you breathe out, push the belly with a hand. Feel that tension underneath the belt buckle. And then as you breathe in, I want you to breathe so your hand on your belt buckle doesn't move. And again, so it's 2 breaths this time. So you're pulling the lower part of the abdomen in, pulling up on the perineum if you can, and breathing over the top of the belt buckle. And then relax, continue breathing and you'll feel the belt buckle move. When I say belt buckle, you don't need a belt buckle, but that's the exact point where we are concentrating on. And you can feel your hand moving on your lower abdomen. I should do a video of this actually. I was thinking I could maybe do it now, but I don't think the angles are quite right with this camera, so maybe I'll do a diaphragmatic breathing video. Okay, the next thing we're going to start concentrating slowing the breath down, but still keep it smooth. And the way we slow the breath down, if you want to extend the breath, is we start breathing slowly at the top of the breath and start breathing out at the bottom of the breath. Because if you try and breathe slowly halfway through the breath, and you're going to run out of breath and you're going to not be able to slow it down at the end. But if you slow down at the beginning and it's too slow, you can always speed up. So breathe in, filling the belly, over the trousers if you can, over the belt buckle, in through the nose, no pause at the top. Start breathing out extremely slowly, as slowly as you can. Remember, it's a silken thread. And there'll be a point at which you have to actively squeeze the air out. Remember, there's a passive and an active part of the breath. Keep squeezing, pulling the belly backwards and in like we did earlier. And then start breathing in. But you're not actually drawing air in. What you're doing, you're stopping your belly just falling forwards and gasping air in. And at some point, you actively draw air in. All the way to the top. And remember, there's a passive part of the exhale where you're just controlling the amount of air escaping. And then there's the active part where you're squeezing the air out. If you're doing the full breath, you want to be pulling up on the perineum, locking the lower abdomen, keeping the eustachian tubes open with dry breath. And this full breath technique is extremely good for your health, both physical and mental. Slow the breath down. Slow the breath down. Okay, and now we're going to start playing with the soft palate. What we were using to fill the E.T.T, how we were controlling where the air went. The same thing was going to do now. So let the mouth drop open, still breathing through the nose. When you get to the top of the breath, I want you to start breathing out through your mouth. But I want you to be aware of what you had to do to change. Oh, a little dry breath. So I want you to be conscious of what you change to switch between nasal breathing and mouth breathing. Keep the mouth open at the bottom. You're breathing in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Now, we're doing quite a lot of things here. If you're doing the full breathing technique, perineum, locking the lower abdomen, you're not breathing with the chest at all, or dry breath if you can do it. Mouth open, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And now I want you to just keep breathing through the mouth. So you're breathing in through the mouth and out through the mouth. But it's still super soft. And feel the difference in how difficult it is to breathe through the, or how easy it is to breathe through the mouth compared to the nose. But I want you to slowly close your mouth till it's nearly fully closed. And then just put your tongue to the top of your mouth on the inhalation. And you'll feel the air going through your nose. Release it. And start breathing out through the mouth. And just the tip of your tongue. Blocking off your air coming out of the mouth. And therefore it has to come out through the nose. Usually use the back of the tongue. So again, just play with the soft palate at the back of the tongue that stops the air going out of the mouth or going into the mouth. Remember the soft breaths. And keep your mind on the fact that there's a passive part of the exhale and then an active part of the exhale. Passive part of the inhale, active part of the inhale. Still playing with switching between nose and mouth as much as you want. Keep the breath slow. So now with your mouth almost closed, relax your tongue and try and get the breath to go in through the nose and the mouth. All the way to the top of the breath. Then relax and just let the air drop out. And squeeze it out to use an active part of the exhalation, and then let the air just draw in. So just relax, the belly will fall forwards and the air comes in. Just for a second pause there before drawing the air in to the belly. So you're letting the active part happen quick, the passive part happening quick, followed by the active part. Let go of the perineum now if you're still pulling up on it. Your arms relax, shoulders dropping, crown the point, highest point in the head. You're breathing in through the nose and the mouth. The mouth is open slightly. Full inhale, full exhale. If you want, you can just huff out the first half of the breath, or huff in the first half of the breath just by relaxing and letting the weight of your belly falling to draw in the air or push out the air. You pause for a second at that midpoint before continuing the breath. Whether it's in or out, it doesn't matter. And now this is where I'm going to leave you just to have 5 minutes of soft breathing. Try and remember the different parts of the breath. You don't have to do them again, but just remember the sensations that you had when you were working through the different parts of the breath and using different parts of the body. Don't forget when you finish to rub your hands and cover your eyes. So I'm going to leave you for about 5 minutes